What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Series of Unfortunate Events, Season 1, Episode 2, The Bad Beginning, Part 2. And this is another very good episode, in my opinion. I know it's going to seem weird, because over the next however long this takes, I'm going to be pointing out some things that I think are funny, some things that I think are weird. But in all honesty, I think the main thing to keep in mind is it feels like it's capturing the tone of the book, or the books, very, very well. You know, like this, it's kind of goofy at times. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, I want to go back and reread them so badly, just because I want to capture this feeling again of they're having to go through all this stuff, and a lot of it doesn't make any sense, but you experience it through their eyes. You experience this entire story through the eyes of these poor kids they're just trying to get away from this guy who wants their fortune. And so all of this stuff going on around them, some of it is exaggerated, some of it's goofy, some of it is not funny when it thinks it is. But overall, that's kind of the point. You know, I think that's what they capture so well, is that it's from the point of kids. And that's where the movie, I think, got it really wrong, is that it was from the eyes of older kids, from like older teenagers, and they didn't look like kids, and so seeing them go through this goofy setup, it felt so unnatural. So we start off with Count Olaf and his associates are they're pretty much showing how Count Olaf got to have the children, and apparently the secretary for Mr. Poe is a part of the secret organization that the Baudelaire parents are a part of. So the henchmen take her away, and then on top of that, the hook-handed man ends up becoming Mr. Poe's new secretary. I don't know if that's from the book. I don't think it is. Like I said, it seems like they're focusing a lot more on the secret organization part of the story than they did in the books. You know, I don't remember that much about the secret organization. I remember it being referenced from time to time. I remember it being talked about, but I don't know how much of it is actually, like, how much of this story is word for word from the book. Some scenes I remember clearly coming from the book. I mean, how she ends up foiling Count Olaf's plan, signing the paper with her left hand instead of her right hand, that was from the book. Obviously, trapping Sonny is from the book as well. But then there are some scenes that I know aren't from the book, like the book didn't have Sonny beating the hook-handed man in poker to release her. Like, they convinced Count Olaf that they did what he said, and then he told the hook-handed man to come bring Sonny. And then while the hook-handed man was bringing her there, that's when they explained what Violet did to to get away with all of this. So I like how they're not keeping it exactly like the book. You know, that would be a little bit too boring in my opinion, because anyone who read the book would be like, oh, well, I know what they're going to do here, here, and here. They're throwing a few twists in that make it. Some of them are funny, some of them are a baby beating a hook-handed man in poker. You know, like, some of them are kind of stupid, but like I said, they are doing such a good job of keeping us in that environment. You know, there are moments where it takes a step into seriousness. You know, it takes a step into, this is something that we intend to not be funny, not be goofy. You know, when Klaus is explaining all this stuff to Count Olaf, how he's figured out a secret plan, that is supposed to be taken kind of funny. You know, he's talking to him, and Count Olaf is just misunderstanding everything he's saying, and then they go off on a tangent about literally and figuratively. And then Count Olaf starts explaining that he's already figured that out, and he's already figured out how to make sure that they go along with it. You know, just everything that Klaus thought of and Violet was thinking of. Count Olaf, who is supposed to be smart, figured all that out too and said, you know what, I know you're probably not going to go through with it, so I'm going to kidnap your sister and put her in a cage. That's the Count Olaf I know. That's the Count Olaf I remember from the book. He's dastardly. He's deceiving. He can be goofy at times, but guess what? He's also smart. He knows what he's doing. He's not just randomly throwing together a plan and hoping it works. No, he's accounted for everything, and he's prepared for it in advance. So that's what I really love with what they're doing with the story right now, is that they're not being goofy all the time. If they were being goofy all the time, you wouldn't be able to take this story seriously at all. But the fact of the matter is, you're supposed to take certain parts seriously. And those are the parts when the kids are trying to get away from Count Olaf, and he's trying to steal their fortune. He's trying to marry Violet to get her fortune. He's trying to kill them later on. You know, all of this stuff, it does get kind of serious and kind of grim, but there are lighthearted moments to say not everything is supposed to be down in the dumps sad. You know, it's supposed to have some lighthearted moments to balance out those grim moments, and they do that very, very well, in my opinion. So, you know, there are parts that go back and forth as far as goofy and serious, and then goofy and serious. And so we just have this nice little setup, just like how it goes in the book. Count Olaf sets up this play. He plans to marry Violet in the play, but use Justice Strauss and a legal binding document. So at the end of the play, he reveals, it turns out, he actually did marry Violet. And like I said, just like in the book, she signed it with the wrong hand, which means Justice Strauss says it's not legally binding. So, I mean, that's pretty much the story. It's very simple, and I think that's kind of what the first book was. It was a very simple story. You know, there are little subplots that they're throwing in right now in the show that I think are going to become bigger as the season goes on because, like I said, the secret organization part of it is supposed to be kind of a big deal. You know, like it's something that is in the background in the books, but it's kind of being brought to light here. You know, we're seeing clips of the parents at the end of every episode, where in one they're being taken away, and then in this one they're in a jail cell while Violet's mom, well, the Baudelaire's mom, she's just like Violet. She's inventing something while the dad is kind of like Klaus, and he's thinking his way out of everything and wipes away the dirt, and there's the symbol of the eye there. So I like the setup that they've got going, and honestly, while like I said, some of it gets kind of goofy, it does have a lot of really funny material. I mean, Patrick Warburton as Lemony Snicket, I said in the first one, I'm going to say it again, perfect. Absolutely perfect. His line where he's talking about marriage, I was about to take a sip of a drink. I had to stop myself because it hit me what he said. He was talking about marriage, and he's like, marriage is like a root beer float in the back end of a horse costume. You only want to share it with someone you love. Just, it was that. I'm sorry if that was loud, but that's how funny it was. I had to like set down my drink and be like, I can't drink this or I'm gonna spit up. It was, I don't know why. Maybe it was the way he said it. Maybe it was the dialogue. It was funny. And it's just so many moments where he pops up into a scene, and every time he does, I'm just so excited to hear what he's going to say next. And I love the fact, I really do think he's going to be continually a big part of this, because that's how it was in the books. It was Lemony Snicket narrating everything that was going on in the books. We were seeing it from his point of view. And that's kind of how they're handling it here. He's involved in the story. He's not interacting with anyone, but he's still telling us the story. We're still seeing it as he's narrating it. And I love the fact that they're doing that because it just sets up everything so brilliantly. So many funny scenes that I guarantee are going to come out of this. It's so good. It is really, really good. So, those are my thoughts on it. Before I end this, I do want to say a lot of these videos are probably going to come up back to back to back. I think I've done this with Daredevil and Jessica Jones and Luke Cage as well. Anytime it's a Netflix thing, because my internet is kind of crappy, I can't upload a video and watch the next episode at the same time. So what I'm likely going to do is I'm going to watch as many as I can tonight, and I'm going to start uploading them and just, upload them all at about the same time. So I'll probably try to get through a couple more before tonight's over, and then I'll have however many 3 or 4 episodes reviews uploaded after, probably tomorrow morning at some point. So that's about it for this episode. Obviously, next is The Reptile Room, the second book, and it looks like what they're doing is they're splitting every book into 2 parts. I think it's probably going to work out since there are 13 books in all. I think there are 4 books this season. I want to say it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Maybe it's 5. But I do think one of the things that I notice about the books is they consistently get bigger. Like, you look at The Bad Beginning, it's probably like this big, and then you look at the 12th book, and, I mean, it's probably double the size of the first book. So, I do think as the season goes along, the episodes also will start to grow. It'll go from 2 episodes per book, probably be at some point 3 episodes per book. So, yeah, it's doing really well so far. I'm looking forward to see what they've got in store next. So, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future series of unfortunate event reviews. With such a long title, it's going to get hard to say. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.